this, so there we go.
Okay,
Okay.
let's see. It's asking me to say okay, which I am. Okay.
Bye.
Remi is a 10-year-old quarter horse. I've had
Okay.
him since he was a coming three. It was right before his third birthday. And it's been quite a journey for us. It's been a wonderful journey. It's a learning.
Okay.
Remi is he's a quarter horse. We He was trained by some cowboys, mostly in Western. They did a good job though with good timing and feel, and I felt they did pretty good. And then my background is more of a dressage, but I'm kind of poking around all over the place. I rode in my younger years, and then I started riding again as an adult. And in recent years, I've taken dressage lessons. Remi is very expressive. He's a very funny horse for gelding. He acts more like a mare. He's very expressive. He didn't like the way I rode him, so I relearned riding from the ground up
Oh, that's
to have
funny.
better balance and timing in my aids, etc. He was very expressive about his dislike of my inconsistencies and my incapabilities of riding him. Probably he's very funny. He doesn't do anything dangerous or anything. He'll pin his ears and arc his neck or bite my leg or kick out a little bit, arc up, but he's never offered to buck me off or anything like that. So the last few years we've spent me learning to ride better. And Remi is like I said, he's very expressive. Maybe one of the things I'd like to work with him on is more self-regulation,
Okay.
such as when he gets, for example, body work. If the body worker approaches an area that I assume he doesn't want to let go of his tensions, he gets very defensive. He
Okay.
pins his ears and he bites. He tries to bite anything that's in sight if he's getting frustrated. Let's see, what else, Remi? We're just starting now where he's getting more confidence in me and I'm getting more confidence in him. There was a phase where we were both like, oh my, we're all gonna die. You thought
That's
that
not
way and
good.
I thought that way. So that's definitely been better. So we're doing relationship building and trust building.
Okay. And what have you done to do relationship building and things like that? What techniques or things have you done?
So we're doing I've recently started taking lessons from a lady that works more on biodynamics and help him balance better. And also me, so we've done some exercises, for example, under saddle in the arena where I just get on and let him walk.
Okay.
And he takes me in all the scary places of the arena, which has been really interesting for me. We just do a kind of I trust him and he feels confident enough to trust me. I've been doing more things underground, like taking him for walks. Where because he gets a little in the arena, it's not so much, but like trail riding, which I ultimately would like to do a whole lot of. He does not trust me on trails. And if he doesn't trust me, I don't trust him either. Of course, my survival instinct kicks in, right,
Yeah.
Remi? So, let's see. I do more things I've done actually for quite some time to hear him.
Okay.
to respond to his body languages, so it's a little bit challenging. I manage Blackberry Stables here, the sporting operation. And a lot of my things a lot of things that I do with them have to be task driven because I do them during feeding times, such as blanketing and fly masking, and they kind of, I have to do them while the horses are busy eating so they don't wander off. I feed them out in the pasture. So I can't always respond to him with the time maybe that he needs for me to do things with him. Like he's in the spring, he doesn't like fly masks. It takes him a long time, and I honor that. He refuses. He just tells me he does not want a fly mask on, and I honor that until the bugs get so bad that he acquiesces. The same with blankets. He's not a friend of blankets, but there's sometimes times where we're getting quite a bit of rain. These guys stay out pretty much all the time. It's cold and we're getting precipitation, and I want him to stay warm. And so I kind of make him wear a blanket, even though he tells me he does not want one.
Okay.
So things like that.
Okay. So what we'll do, and I don't know how much Sue has shared with you about what my techniques are. So, and if you have time, we can go past our hour time or whatever time we did
Thank
today,
you.
since this is
Yeah.
our first time. And so don't worry about all of that. So, as you know, probably came off of a ranch. I was on a ranch for a long time, training horses. We had to get things done. And we had to be able to have a horse ready anytime to do whatever task was needed. And I found with the way that I do it, it's like they're going, hey, pick me. Because I'd go out and go, which one of you wants to help me with this? And they'd all line up and push each other away. And that's the kind of horse I want, is one that says, I like to do stuff with you just because, and I don't care what the task is, but we're going to spend time together, and that's what's cool. So I kind of approach it from maybe a little different angle. I still need a task done, but it's how I approach that in my body, how I communicate that.
Yeah.
That is the difference of them wanting to do it versus doing a block or trying to get away from it. So that's kind of where I'm coming from, just so people know when we start that I'm not one that's, the horse says no, and I'm just going to wait for 2 years for the horse to say yes. No, I'm going to figure out, what do I need to do? How can I change so that the horse always says yes?
Yes.
No matter what I want to do with them. Okay. So, with that said, when you were doing the balancing stuff, is that physical balance that you're working on or emotional balance?
Kind of both.
Okay.
We've done some exercises where we ask him to stand and just relax, which has been difficult for him. And then so both really, physical balancing too, as well as trying to some emotional balancing.
Okay.
But like, as you can see right now, he's very anxious. He wants to graze.
Okay. Right. And this is telling me he doesn't have his own internal balance. And I'm very much about, can I teach the horse to find his own balance point? And he doesn't have to be doing stuff like that. He can just find a place in himself and just go there and relax. But there's going to be some things I asked him and help him to find that place of emotional and internal balance. And it may seem kind of weird, but we'll probably walk through it, and we may break this up into 2 different sessions. I won't charge you extra for the other one, but we may do a little bit today, and then a few days later, we'll get back together and do the other part of the balancing, because sometimes it's too much at one time to get through all of it. So part of what I do is I work on both our balance and the horses. So I'm going to be essentially the horse's leader in my internal balance. So I want to be able to find my balance point first, and then I'm going to model that for the horse so that he goes, oh, You mean like this?
Yes,
Okay.
that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. And so that would be what in a herd, a horse leader would be one that has emotional balance and physical balance. That's who they're going to follow. Okay. So we're really, I think that having emotional balance surpasses the physical.
Yes.
Because they're looking for somebody to look toward when things get rocky. And
Yes.
if you lose it, then the horse goes, you're not a leader. I might as well leave because what's the point?
Exactly.
You're
Yes.
not going to keep us safe. Okay, so we're going to work on today maybe two of the things that we're going to work toward to model for the horse how to start feeling comfortable. And the first thing I work on is our breath. And we're going to breathe in a particular way that's going to signal to the horse relaxation and safety. Okay. And then we're going to ask the horse, if he gets through that, we're going to ask the horse, can he breathe in the same way we're breathing? This is one of the biggest problems I see with horses right now, is that they are not breathing in a functional way. They are stress breathing.
Yeah.
People are stress breathing, their horses are stress breathing. And we're going to just in a minute check his breathing. So when we're in stress breathing, we're always in this anxiety state, like here. Yes, yeah, you're at that place. All right, there you go. And he can't settle. If he's not breathing, he can't settle. He can't get into that parasympathetic place. Okay. So let's go ahead and we're going to play with the breath. And bear with me, I'm going to get my phone out, because what we're going to do is we're first going to go through and we're going to see, how are you breathing right now? And just breathing like you normally do, just in your state. Tell me where you feel your breath. Is it up in your
It's kind of in the middle of my chest.
Okay, in the middle of your chest. All right.
Yeah. Don't
Okay.
breathe all the way down right now.
All right. And so if we are breathing in our chest, it's a little bit of signaling some anxiety or stress. Okay, so we're going to work on that. So this next thing I'm going to do is we're going to time your breaths. How many breaths per minute you take? What is your respiration rate? And then that's going to be our baseline. Okay, that you're starting out with a little bit of lower chest breathing, and then let's see what your respiration rate is. And when we do this, you're going to count a breath in and a breath out as one.
Okay.
And then the next full one will be 2. So you go through the whole inhale and exhale before you count another number. And what I'll do is time for 60 seconds, and we'll see where you're at to start. And then I'm going to explain everything about the breath and what we're going to work towards. So hold on, and I'll get my timer ready. And let's see. Okay. Stopwatch. All right. So when you're ready to take your first inhale, just give me a thumbs up and I'll time you for 60 seconds.
Okay, I'm good.
All right. And stop.
15.
15. Okay. So what's considered normal respiration is 12 to 18 in a human. Okay. So you're in that range of normal. But what I found when working with horses is that our normal respiration rate of 12 to 18 causes them to be a little bit on alert, because they're like, yeah, I don't know, something's going on. So what we're going to do is play with lowering our respiration rate to help the horse find some safety and comfort, a feeling of everything's okay. All right.
Yes.
Okay, so that's one of our things that is important with the horses with our breath is what is our respiration rate? And then really what's most important is how smooth are we breathing, and are we breathing through our entire body, or is it localized in one area? Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to start to breathe in a full body way where we're oxygenating our whole entire body with every breath. And the reason this is important is because I'm working in with the energy, and our breath is our energy. And so I want my energy going to every spot in my body. And I want
that's a good, yeah.
I also want to know where my energy is and what it's doing. So this is part of what we're going to be doing in this breathing technique that I use. And it's one that I use all the time now. I've changed the way I breathe, and it has changed my life. It's kept me calmer. I can reset myself if I get anxious with something. I can really quickly, within less than a minute, reset my body to relaxation so that I'm not causing my body to have stress for very long, which, as a health researcher, stress is really bad on our bodies. So we want to keep us in a nice, relaxed space as much time as we can. And one of the things that I'm going to do too, and why I'm paying attention to this, is because I want the same thing for my horse. Yeah, hi. I want my horse not to be in a stress state and to be able to reset themselves quickly. And the breathing is one of the fastest ways. So what we'll do here is we'll do our breathing first, and then we're going to ask him if he's breathing and see if we can help him find a better breath. Okay, so with that said, the first thing we're going to work on is how smoothly are we breathing, and are we breathing through our entire body? And this is going to be kind of a change in how we think about breathing. But like, instead of thinking about I breathe up through here in the top part of my body, I'm going to imagine that I bring that breath up from the ground, that my feet are actually breathing. And in that place of bringing that breath up in my imagination from the ground, I'm grounding myself. What we want the horse to be able to do is ground themselves, feel connected to the earth, not flighty and all over, okay? Especially when you get to the trail riding, this is going to be real important. All right, so with that said, just imagine here that you are breathing through the bottom of your feet, like they have little doors that you can open up, and you just allow air to move in from the ground. So you can imagine it comes from deep in the ground, and it's going to move up your body from the bottom up. Okay, so as that breath comes in, it fills up your legs and up your thighs, into your hips, into your torso, your chest, your arms. And when it moves all the way up to the top of your head, you're going to imagine it redirecting out your nose a few inches off of your body and back into the ground. And then you're going to think of a new breath coming in, a new clean breath. So what you're doing is you're just watching that breath or feeling it move from the earth up through the bottom of your feet, oxygenating every space in your body as it moves in. And it moves in and kind of inflates your body like a balloon would blow up from the bottom, and it gets bigger. And then when it gets to the top, just redirect it back out your nose, outside your body. And so as you're doing that, I'll just give you a moment, and then I'm going to ask you a couple questions about it, if you can follow it, and if there's anywhere where it's getting stuck or sticky or disappears. So just take a moment and do that breathing. And then tell me what you're experiencing, if you can, in your imagination, follow your breath.
It feels really good.
Okay,
It
good.
feels really good. I can feel or I can breathe through the bottom of my feet, but I can't get it higher than my eyeballs.
Oh, that's okay. And when it gets there, just redirect it out your nose. That's perfectly okay.
But it feels really good. It feels
Okay.
really calming and grounding, and
Okay.
yeah, it feels really good.
Okay, and that's how it should. This is full body breathing. This is how we're supposed to breathe. And
Yeah.
by us telling our brain like where we want it to go, we want our breath going everywhere. So this time, just thinking about feeling that, just noticing that it goes and fills in all the little spaces everywhere on the way up. And that as it comes in, it also pushes up any stress. If you have anything you don't need, it's just going to push that up with the breath, and then you can exhale that stuff out into the ground and let it go down, take in a new fresh breath. So we're going to work on both our breathing and an internal cleansing system. We're cleansing out energies we don't need, and we're bringing in fresh new breath every time we breathe in. So I'll just give you a moment, and you're getting it through without any places other than your past your eyeballs where it's not moving. Is that right?
Yeah, no, actually, I've been practicing central channel breathing
Okay.
off and on a little bit. Are
Okay.
you familiar with Dr. Sue Morter and her energy codes?
Um, I haven't found Sue Morter, but all of this is from psychology and physiology and all my health research. So everybody kind of has their own take on it.
Yeah, 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 of course, yeah.
You call
I've
it.
been trying to do a lot of, or I've been working a lot on myself to be a
Okay.
better centered human for him.
Okay. And
But
what
that easily goes out the window
when he gets, yeah, and we're going to kind of help him with some of this stuff too, because he's going to learn to breathe differently and to be less outwardly focused. So our first part of the breathing is probably like what she does, but what we're going to do now, there's two important things again with the horses. How smooth is our breathing? How full is it and smooth it is? And then what is the rate of our respiration? And the slower we can breathe, the fuller and slower we breathe, the more relaxation we signal energetically. Okay, so what we're going to do next here is we're going to work on that second part of how slow are you going, but we're not going to try to do it. What you're going to do is you're imagining that breath come in, just watch or feel it moving slower. Watch it fill in more spaces in your body. Ask it to fully go to every spot. And just do that for a few moments. And then we're going to just see if anything changed in your respiration rate. And your focus is just on watching or feeling it move slower. Watching it fill in more spaces. And when you think you've got it, just give me a thumbs up and we're going to do another counting of your breaths for a minute and see what happens. Okay, go ahead. and stop.
7.
Oh, perfect. Okay. So that's, you did more than half of your respiration rate. That was good on the first try. Awesome.
Yes.
Awesome. So what I do when I'm working with a horse that's really highly anxious, I'm going to focus on really slowing my breath, really doing that deep breathing and slow. Although I do it all the time, if I have a super anxious horse, I bring it down to about 2 breaths a minute. And what they're going to
Wow.
do, they're going to copy that breath. And it's very hard to be anxious and breathe fast at the same time.
Yes.
Okay, right? It's just impossible. If
Yes.
we're exerting ourselves, we're going to breathe faster. But if you start out at 7 instead of 15, you're going to go up to 15 rather than 15 to a lot. So I practice a whole lot on these two things. First of all, making sure I get my breath really smoothly moving through, because that's where your horse starts to go, you're consistent. I can count on to look at you, and your breath is always going to be moving in this very elliptical pattern, and it's going slowly. That to them is very soothing. Okay, so I'm going to practice that until, like now, this type of breathing is how I breathe all the time. I don't change the way I breathe. And if I do notice, like when it was really cold, I noticed when I went outside and it was way below 0, that I wanted to mouth breathe. I wanted to start inhaling through my mouth, which is not functional breathing either. We want to be breathing through our nose only. And if we want our horse to copy our breath, they don't breathe through their mouth. So we're going to model for them, always breathe smoothly and slowly through your nose. Okay. So with that said, any questions so far?
No, this
Okay.
is really good. Yes,
Okay.
this is great.
Since you've already done a lot of this breathing, it should come fairly easily for you. Okay. And I just pick out maybe 3 times a day to put my attention on what is my respiration right now, and can I get it to slow down by just watching it. I don't want us to think about it. I just want us to feel it going slower or watch it. And pretty soon what you're going to do is you're going to combine that with a body scan. So as I bring my breath up, I kind of imagine that I'm looking inside my body and I'm making notes about what does that area feel like? What do my feet feel like? What do my legs, my chest? So as you do that, when you're breathing slower, get an idea of how your body feels when you're really at a 7 breath and you feel relaxed and you feel like you're full body. Because that's more important than us counting. I only want us counting for a little while to get an idea of where we're at. After that, we want to throw that out and say, I feel like this when I'm breathing at 7. Okay. Because I can know, okay, I'm breathing at 2. I know how that feels. I know how breathing at 7 feels. Okay. That's all I have to think about. I want to feel this way, and you're going to start breathing that. Okay. So just as you initially practice, just count it once in a while and just get a good idea of how it feels. Okay. So with that said, what we're going to do is we're going to hold space for our horse, and we're going to ask him about his breathing. And when I say hold space, I'm just talking about getting at that 7 breaths a minute or less and just breathing. You're just there focusing on your breathing and watching your breath. So it's really a form of waking meditation. And when we stay in that breath and breathe slowly, we create this nice atmosphere for the horse. Okay, so that's what I call the holding space. There you go. Good boy. All right, so what we're going to do now that you got your breathing, we're going to look at him, and you're going to tell me what his breathing pattern looks like. Is he breathing back by his flanks? Is he breathing in his middle part? Or can you even see him breathing? Can you notice any breath? See, I can't. It's always hard for me on this end. I feel like he shallow breathes.
He's shallow and irregular. He's antsy, kind of, but I
Okay.
could see him breathe into his flank, but kind of shallow and irregular.
Okay, so our equivalent, or the horse's equivalent of stress breathing, is that you see just their flank area move, just a little bit. It's irregular and it's shallow. Okay, so that's telling me he stress breathes, or that he's used to stress breathing. It may have become his habit. What we want to see is that he starts to take a fuller breath, and it's more up in his, expands his whole rib cage rather than just in the back there. Okay, so what we're going to do with him now is we're going to work on his breath and see if we can teach him how to do what we just did for ourselves here. Okay, so this is one of the questions I ask a horse. Are you breathing? Okay, and you can just keep him right, just keep your rope locked on your hip or something so you don't have to pull him, and he can walk around if he needs to, but just around a circle around you. So you kind of keep his head bent towards you and just keep that rope locked on your hip. So he's going to know he's got a limit there. So you don't have to feel like you're pulling on it. It's just kind of locked there. And just relax your arm into that position. So I'd put my, yeah. So, okay. So now we're going to tell him energetically, he's got that much leeway to walk around. So he's got what, 3 feet, maybe 2.5 feet. And he's going to have his little protest about it, and we're not going to get involved in it. We're just going to keep our breathing. When you see that, you can tell him he can let it go when he's ready, but don't get invested in any of his theatrics. He's trying to pull you in and draw you into doing something. And you're going to say, oh, time to grow up, time to regulate yourself. Okay. So you're in a good position. I usually stay right back by their shoulder. So if they do, coming around to nip at you or do something, I can just block it. And what I'll do is block with my inside hand and just stick that, let's see, it'd be your right hand. Take that right hand with the rope in it like it is and just hook it on your hip. Just block it right on the hip and just keep it right there. And then your inside hand can there block. Good. And just tell him when he does that, you got this. Good. And then when he does, okay, and all of that we're ignoring. You just keep that hooked on your hip, because now he's just correcting himself. You're not getting involved in any of it. You got this. And he's going to go through all of his stuff. And we're just going to say, you got it. Time to grow up and be a big boy and regulate yourself here. Okay. All right. So with that position, if you feel like you want to back up more to, I usually stay shoulder to shoulder with him, just gives him a lot of leeway to block him if he starts to come around, but you find your position. That's perfect. And you just did perfect. You stay with your feet going in a little circle and you don't go anywhere else. And see, like he got on the other side of you. See if you can keep right on his shoulder and you just keep turning with him and you don't let him get you out of where you were. And if you need to shorten it up, you can. But I kind of just go, my feet are going to stay with yours and I'm going to keep my shoulder next to you. And I'm going to detach from all of your drama here. Okay. He's going to have to figure it out. All right. So now at the best of your ability, you're going to go back to your 7 breaths a minute and your slow breathing. And just keep going on a circle so you're facing forward as he goes around, staying right at his shoulder. Good. And I might make it a little shorter if you feel comfortable enough with it. There we go. So he can't really get his head on the ground and he can't do anything. Perfect. Okay. Now you're just going to lock in that position with relaxation and you're going to breathe. Okay. He's going to have to figure it out. You got this. And so our job is to not correct him that he's going to self-correct by hitting the end of that rope on your hip, but you're not going to have to pull your hand or do anything. There we go. Good boy. Okay. So you're starting out going, here's how I'm standing. And I'm going to keep standing this way and I'm going to be in this position. There you go. Good. And if you really lock it on there, if you can, where you don't have to use that inside hand to pull him back over, because that's kind of what he's
out of my hand. Yeah.
Yeah, it might be hard with that rope. Sometimes they pull it out. As best you can, lock it there. You got this. And you're just thinking nothing about correcting anything. You're just breathing. Good. Good boy. Okay, now as he's in that spot, and just back up and stay right at his shoulder. There you go. And your job is to be as nonchalant about all of his antics as you can. You don't get invested in him. You're just there. Good. You got this. He's trying to draw you back in. There you go. This is a game that he's used to kind of playing. There you go. Good boy. There you go. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask him, are you breathing? And I'm going to model it for him. I'm going to show him from this end what that means. It means the breath, just like our breath, it's coming up through his back end, from the ground, through the bottom of his feet, in the back, up his back legs, through his rump, through his middle, through his shoulder, his withers, down his neck, out his nose, back down into the ground. Do you see him changing as we're going through this breathing? His head has gone down. Okay. I'm going to create the same kind of elliptical breath for him. I'm showing him. Bring that breath up through your back end, all the way through your body, down your neck, out your nose, into the ground. There you go. And just keep where you're at. You got this. You got it. There we go. This is going to feel different for him. We're going to just give him a couple little sips of this breathing here. So I've kind of stopped here for a second. We're going to let him go around. That was perfect going around, keeping your position. So what's really important for trust building is that when we do this, there's a reason why I have you stand where you're doing and what you're doing there, is the consistency of this position is going to be important. That he knows he can't put you out of position and that you're always going to be here and that you're going to be breathing slowly and fully. Okay, good boy. There you go. And all of this is him trying to figure out what, something new. And you're like, yep, this is how I'm breathing. All right. And so I'm going to go back again and ask him, are you breathing? And I'm going to then show him what that means. Okay. So this is almost like a cue that we're teaching the horse. I want to say, are you breathing? And have the horse start to reset. Good boy. Start to do a reset on his body. Okay. Are you breathing? Now I'm going to show him up through the back end, through your body, down your neck. You got it. Down into the ground. Back up through the ground. There you go. You can let it go. And as he goes forward, you turn the opposite direction and keep him on a little circle. So you can see how you don't have to correct it. He's going to have to bend with you because just by your body position and locking that rope on there. And as long as he moves around.
Very cool. Watch when you started both times to show him how to breathe. His eyes got really soft and his ears, and he took deep breaths. He was blinking.
That's perfect. Okay. Yeah. This is what we want to see is the blinking of the eyes. When he gets in a stress thing, he'll stop blinking. So yeah. When I first asked the question, are you breathing? That should be one of the things he does is start to blink his eyes and take a fuller breath. Yeah. This is hard for him because he's so used to breathing another way that I'm doing it just for a couple seconds there, maybe 2 breath cycles through his body and then letting him have a little break from it. Okay. So he goes, oh, Well, this isn't that bad. This is right. Okay. So we're going to go in just a second and do it again. And this is something you can do by yourself. You don't have to be next to him. He could be in a paddock or wherever, and you can ask him, are you breathing? And then just show him by tracing with your eyes, or you can put your hand up and trace that breath through his body and just say, are you breathing? You breathing through your body? So right now I can do it from the back in, through your body, down your neck, out your nose. And he's got some stuff that yeah, there you go. You got it. And again, oh, there we go. Thank you. Good boy. Thank you. So he's only going to be able to hold it for a second right now, a second or two, but we want him to start finding that because he's going to go, wow, this feels really good when I get to that breathing. Good job. Good job. You got it. So I'm thinking a lot of this is kind of just his own internal anxiety. And you can't have anxiety when you're breathing really slow.
Yeah.
But he's just kind of built this up on his own. Nobody's fault. He's probably really smart and sensitive, and it's just his coping with the world. Okay, I'm going to ask him, are you breathing? Good boy. And if you've ridden dressage, you know how when you want the energy when you're riding to come from the back end and move through the body down the front. That's why I'm sending this breath that direction, because we're going to use it when we're riding later on. And I want him to follow the breath. Okay. And I want to be able to scoop up power from the back end and set it out the front. Good boy. This is very, very good. Good boy. Good boy. Okay. He just felt it there for a second. Cool. We're going to let him just walk around with that one. So again, this is good that he's experiencing that for a second. You got it. You can let it go. And this is why I want to break this up into a couple different sessions, because just for him to master this breathing or get it a little better is going to be necessary before we go on to the next things.
That makes perfect sense. Yeah.
Yeah. So again, we'll just give him a little break from this. Because it's harder for horses than it would seem. And sometimes it's really hard for people to breathe differently. And so they can only do it for a short amount of time, and then their body wants to go back there again into the old way they did it. Ooh, good boy. There you go. Good boy. Good boy. And so you see when he gets it, how I praise him. I don't know if he can hear me or not, but he can hear me energetically.
Yes.
Yeah. So whenever he finds that little place of, even for a few seconds, that he finds a place of peace in his body there, I'm going to praise him. That's it. That's what you could do. What a good job. So he knows to seek that, because if I didn't tell him anything, he wouldn't really know. It wouldn't be a motivation to go find that. Again, good job. You got it. Good. Okay. I'm going to go through again. Good. You're blinking. Are you breathing? Are you breathing? Good boy. And a lot of this rooting and everything that he's doing in this little kind of nippy behavior is going to go away as he starts to feel better. Good boy. Good.
Look at his eyes. They're really soft.
Yeah, good job. You're going to do good. All right. Yeah. You're doing good there, buddy. Awesome. Good boy. You did it. And I'm honoring the fact that this is really hard for him.
Yeah.
I know. There you go. Good job. Good job.
His lower lip is quivering. I don't know if he can see
yes.
it.
He's got to let go of some stuff. So when you see that happen, just go, I see that. You can let that go when you're ready. You can let that go. Good boy. And he's speaking a lot with his ears right now. He's telling me a whole bunch of stuff is going on in his body and where it's stuck. but we're gonna get to that here after this, but I want him to be able to figure out the breathing. Good boy. You can let that go when you're ready. I see it. I understand. So just like us, he could have some things that he's held, some tensions, some, I hesitate to use the word trauma, but we've all had trauma. We don't get through life without it, and sometimes we hold it in our body. And what he's doing now with the quivering lip and all the ears moving back and forth is he's working on some of that. You can let that go when you're ready. And this is an amazing consequence of our breathing in that slower way. We create the safety and we create an atmosphere that allows him to feel safe enough to let go of some of that stuff he's held a long time. You got it. You can let it go when you're ready. Yeah, we understand. That's awesome. And this is where I like to get to in the session. You see how when he starts working on his stuff that he gets less fidgety. Okay, and he's in this place of thinking about it.
I could tell when he goes internal, when he processes.
Yeah, there you go. You got it. You can let it go when you're ready. You can do it. He's saying it's hard. All of this stuff is just his way to say, I don't really want to look at my stuff. And there you go. Good boy. Good boy. See, you could do it. That wasn't so bad. Thank you. You got it. You got it. You can do it. There we go. This is our first step toward his own self-regulation. Okay. He's got to be able to recognize he's got stuff that he's holding and he's got to have a way to let it go. And that breath is going to help him move that through instead of it getting stuck. There you go. Good boy. And I know he's not going into dissociation or something because he's blinking and his ears are moving. Yeah. He's working on his stuff. Good boy. This is super exciting.
And he's breathing.
This is so cool, isn't that?
He's breathing.
I can see him doing the breath now. Good boy. Doesn't that feel better? Not holding that stuff in? Got it. You can let it go. And I always tell him this, you can let it go when you're ready. So it's not saying, let it go. I'm saying, if you're ready, you could release that. It's a suggestion, not a demand. And when I say when you're ready, he might be ready now. He might be ready when he goes in his paddock or his field later. This is giving him permission not to hold anything. And what you can say where you're saying that too is, you don't have to hold anything from me or anything from other horses. Okay, you have permission to let everybody's stuff go. You don't have to take on anybody's stuff. He's thinking about it. This feels better with his breathing. Yeah, that's awesome. Good boy. And again, he's going to hold. There you go. You can do it. Yay, good boy. Good job. Look at you, big boy. And what I love is they feel proud of themselves when they do this on their own.
Yes.
Right? Because we're not manipulating his body or doing anything to him. We're just holding the space and saying, you can do this. We want you to be a big, strong, independent, soft, gentle horse.
Yes.
Right? That feels like you've got confidence, because some of his stuff that he's doing feels like it's just that he doesn't have confidence in himself.
Yes, yes.
And as we go through this process, he'll start to gain some self-regulation, and he'll start to understand he's got some control over how he feels. And if he's having trouble, he can tell us in a soft, gentle way, and we can make a suggestion like, are you breathing? He goes, oh, I forgot. Yes, breathing will help. That would help, huh? Breathing fixes a lot of things. There we go. I'm really happy how quickly he came into doing this. Yes, that was a good one.
This is awesome, Dr. Susie. This is really, really great. This is amazing. I know this guy so well.
Wow.
I can tell when he tunes in. When it was so interesting when you were sending him the thoughts energetically, how he immediately his ears went back,
Uh-huh.
like to hear you, and then he started breathing. Like it's incredible. It's awesome. It's absolutely incredible what you
It's
do.
really,
He's still working on it.
this is really cool stuff, and it's really simple. And we're going to go through, we're probably just going to do this today, the breathing, because I think this is a lot for him, and that'll give you however many days you want to do it, and we'll schedule another one here.
That will be awesome. I would love that.
Because I like to, when I first meet somebody, an hour doesn't give me time to really delve into some of this, and I want to give you a good foundation. And we talked a little bit beforehand and all that, so we'll just break this into 2 different sessions. You don't have to pay more for the other one. We'll schedule it not on the website, so you don't have to pay anything else. But
Thank you.
what we're going to do is we're going to have you work on the breathing so you can hold it for him, and then you're going to ask him that question. That's our first question. Are you breathing? And you're going to go through and you'll trace it with your hand. After I ask the question to him, then I go in and I trace it. So I model for them. Here's how it works. And I'm just showing them, I'm not going to do it for him, but I'm just saying, this is how you can move that energy through your body.
So even if he's at a distance,
yep,
I trace it with my hand going up from the back.
Yep.
Up forward through his neck.
Look at that.
And then out to the front.
And down under the ground. That's perfect. Look at what you just did. He just went to that place. Are you breathing? Good boy. And when he gets to that kind of place where I see him working on it, I tell him, that's it. That's exactly right. Look at you. Wow. Oh, there was a big one. Yes. Good job. And that smoothness, I love how you're doing it slow and smooth. And that's showing him, instead of that irregular breath that he gets into when he gets anxious, saying, you can breathe slow like this. Because I want this to become a cue later on that you see him getting anxious about something. You can go, are you breathing? And he immediately stops what he's doing and blinks and then goes to his breath.
Yes, that will make.
You can see how fast they can learn this.
Yes.
Right? Okay, that was absolutely perfect. Yay.
Right.
So again, I have 4 different questions that I'm going to ask the horse to help them find their internal balance, which means their emotional, their mental, and their spiritual balance. I need that before I get physical balance, because physical balance will actually follow those. But if you don't have those 3, the emotional, the mental, and the spiritual balance, your physical balance is going to be hard. It's going to be hard to maintain. You're going to have to do a lot to keep it there. But if we can tell the horse through a series of just 4 questions, if they get out of balance, I can ask them, are you breathing? Anything you need to tell me? And then we'll go through the other 2 questions next time, and they will reset themselves.
Yes.
It's just, that makes sense. Fabulous and fun and easy. And they learn their self-regulation.
Yeah.
So this was so awesome.
Your work is amazing. This was so great, Dr. Susie. This was fabulous. Fabulous. It's so incredible to watch. I love energetic work. I mean, I can tell you, it was amazing when you ask him to breathe, his immediate response. I mean, he doesn't know the words. It's incredible.
It's so much fun.
Amazing.
And I think the thing is, I do it all the time, that I'm getting more clear about the question that I ask.
Yes.
And there isn't that doubt at all that something is going to happen. Hi, thank you for coming over. You did good. This is how they usually end the session. Bye. You remember? Okay, you're going to breathe this week.
Oh, boy.
I know. I'm so proud of you.
We're going to practice this, right? We're gonna practice
And
breathing.
wait till we get to the other questions, then you're gonna be blown away too, because it's really fun. It's super fun. Okay, so let me hit the stop record. And what I'll do for